Alright guys, it's Chatterbox Reviews, coming at you guys with my review for the movie I-Tonya. Alright, so I got a chance to see this movie yesterday. This is part of my my new thing here in the next couple of weeks. I want to get probably I'm going for 2 more movies. So I can do a couple more reviews for some movies, and I'm trying to see more of these Academy Award nominated movies as well, like The Post. I am probably going to be seeing that in the next couple days, so hopefully there'll be a review for that. So this is kind of part of that. That I'm trying to see some of these movies, and yeah, I didn't really see many last year, so I kind of wanted to get more knowledge on this one, and definitely will be watching the Academy Awards this year. This should be very good. So anyways, this movie wasn't nominated for Best Picture, but of course, Margot Robbie and Allison Janney getting nominations. And to me personally, I think there was a couple other nominations as well. And personally, I think Sebastian Stan should also get a nomination for his performance in this movie. But anyways, yeah, overall, very good movie. Very good. I actually really enjoyed it. So let's just get into to some of the specifics here. So, the movie's directed by Craig Gillespie, and he hasn't really done much, and I haven't heard of him, but he has done $1 Million Arm. So that's kind of a notable one. That was again, that's a sports biography sort of movie, a drama sport, biography. Those are kind of the genres there, and that kind of matches this one, right? It's kind of a sport biography sort of thing. They take the facts and they twist them, of course, a little bit, right? They dramatize them a little bit for an entertainment value standpoint. But yeah, so just thought that was kind of interesting that he also did that movie as well. And I think this was great. I mean, this was kind of I would say this is his second biggest one, or probably his biggest now, but $1 Million Arm was also, pretty big. But other than those two, nothing really like too notable that he's done. And the screenplay was done by Steven Rogers. Haven't heard much of him, but I'm sure he's been involved in some other stuff as well. So this movie stars Margot Robbie, Sebastian Stan, Allison Janney, Julianne Nicholson, and Paul Walter Hauser. Yeah, I mean, I think all of them turned in great performances. In specific, obviously Margot Robbie, Sebastian Stan, and Allison Janney probably stand out. But I'll get to that a little bit later on. But yeah, so those are the stars of the movie there. And of course, this movie is based off various interviews of the people involved in the Tonya Harding scandal that happened in 1994 with Nancy Kerrigan. So obviously, some people may even, remember that. I wasn't alive for that, so I can't talk on that. But yeah, so I knew about this scandal like a little bit. I knew the name Tonya Harding, but that's about all I knew, right? That's about all. I didn't really know a lot of the details and stuff, so I found this movie definitely educational in that regard. But I mean, people who know the story, right? Obviously, this I think is still definitely entertaining. So yeah, it's kind of based off the reviews of these interviews of these people, and then they kind of spin it into a movie. So that's pretty cool there. And another thing is the movie's left open for a lot of interpretation here, due to the many different sides of the story. So that I don't think there really is like a full, total truthful story out there about this scandal. I don't think there's 100% truthful thing out there. So the movie kind of represents that as well. That there's nothing 100% factual. And examples of this, we see Jeff's side of the story a little bit, we see Tonya's side, we see the mom's side. So pretty much every person in this story has a different side and a different type of truth, I guess, to the story. So I found that was pretty interesting, and I will talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, that was a big thing about this movie. So now I'm just gonna get into a little bit of a pro and con sort of thing. I think that's what I'm gonna stick with for these movie reviews. Just to keep it a little bit easier, with sorting this stuff out. So yeah, so into the pros and cons now. To start off with the positives. So the comedy was great in this movie. I found myself laughing out loud. A couple friends I went with, they we were in hysterics most of the time. It was great, the comedy in this. And it was a little bit mixed too, because there was a lot of violence and a lot of touchy, I would say touchy subjects in this, right? I mean, there was definitely that, but then they kind of made fun of some of the things as well. and that's what kind of made it, kind of more of a comedy. But I didn't even know it was that much of a comedy going into it. I thought it was more of a serious type of thing. But yeah, it was really funny at times. And I love the Sean character played by Paul Walter Hauser. Oh my God! I mean, I was laughing so hard at some of his parts, and if you've seen the movie, obviously, I think you know what I'm talking about. But and then also the mom's parts, Allison Janney, doing a great job with playing the mom, and she was really funny as well. And again, like some of those scenes, it's like I don't know, like you kind of either have to laugh or you're kind of like really like that's really sad, right? And but then they kind of make a comedy out of it, and then you end up laughing. So yeah, I did like that. A little bit more of an upbeat kind of film. And the soundtrack was very well put together, I would say. Definitely one of the positives for this one. Great songs that fit the movie. And a lot of scenes I felt like, they started playing that song and then you kind of got into it a little bit. And I was kind of, bobbing my head a little bit, when some of the songs came on. I knew some of them. So, yeah, that was really great too. The soundtrack, definitely a highlight in this one. And like I said before, great performances from Margot Robbie, Sebastian Stan, and Allison Janney. And of course, Margot Robbie and Janney are both nominated for Academy Awards. And Allison Janney is nominated for Best Supporting Actress, and Margot Robbie for Best Actress. So I've heard some stuff about Margot Robbie probably is not going to win. Allison Janney may have a chance. She may have a shot. So we'll have to see there. And I think Sebastian Stan should have been nominated as well. I mean, he put in a great performance in this movie. And he actually, like, he doesn't, he did go through, like, a pretty big change to look like this Jeff character. And I felt like he did an amazing job with him. I don't know, I think he does deserve to be nominated for Best Supporting Actor. But I don't know, maybe that category is just a little full. Maybe, they didn't want to put him in there. I don't know, but I think he definitely deserves it at the end of the day. I think he was really great in this. And also, Julian Nicholson, Paul Walter Hauser putting in great performances as well. I've read some stuff about Paul Walter Hauser maybe should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor. And I mean, he's hilarious. And he really gets in that role. But yeah, I don't know about that. But anyways, it's just kind of a funny thing. But I also really like the interviews with the people, especially the ones with Margot Robbie as Tonya Harding. Those interviews, they were really great. I really enjoyed those, and I like the way of like sort of the way they just paused the story that was ongoing. They kind of just took a couple minutes break from the story that we were in, and then she told us more about it. She told her us her side of it pretty much. And then we, resumed and went on, with the rest of the story. So I also appreciated the way they kind of effectively portrayed, where she grew up and how her life was and all that. So I felt like that was very good. I mean, they kind of pushed that a little bit, maybe even a little bit too much, with how she acted and, how much of a kind of a redneck she acted like and all that. I felt like they may push that a little bit too much, but I felt like they really got like the grasp on what the time was, what this town looked like where she grew up in, how what she faced in an everyday sort of thing. So how she dropped out of school, all that stuff. So I felt like that they did a really good job of that. And I mean, which is pretty awful, right? I mean, her whole life and growing up was pretty damn awful. So yeah, obviously they really effectively presented that for sure, that it was pretty awful for her. So yeah, I mean, that is how it is. And if you do some research on it too, I mean, that most of that is all true, right? That's all factual. What happened to her. So yeah, really tough story for her. But and then also they're making comedy out of it. Every couple scenes that they show this struggle and sort of tough upbringing. So yeah, that's just the kind of movie it is. So now let's get on to a couple of the negatives. I think I have a few more positives, actually, in this one, than negatives. But anyways, the first one, a lot of violence out of nowhere. Now, again, I do appreciate, the issue of, Jeff, her husband, beating her and abusing her and all that. And that's definitely, a very significant storyline in this movie. But there was also times where it's like the violence just came out of nowhere. And I don't know. I mean, I did do some research on this stuff, and we're, I guess there's no 100%, saying that, these things did or did not happen. I think Tonya says they happen, but nobody else has really, like agreed or like corroborated her story. So yeah, a lot of violence out of nowhere. So Tonya at one point gets a knife in her arm from her mom. Her mom throws a knife at her arm. And then also there's like a ricochet bullet that hits her head as well from her husband. And there's a couple other ones that it's like just out of nowhere, like these huge things happen, and it's like, like that's crazy. Like, really? Like, did that happen? And again, I just researched. Tonya says they happen. Says that these things happen, but no one else, no one else really corroborates that story. So, that definitely, I mean, that's kind of her word against, hers, or his against his, or whatever, in that circumstance. But, that doesn't discount that it may be truthful too, right? I mean, it definitely might be. So anyways, I just felt like I was kind of, they would have like a serious scene, and then, stuff would be happening. And then all of a sudden, like, a knife gets thrown. I'm like, this is pretty crazy, because with the comedy before that, a little bit like throughout the movie, I felt like it was just kind of like a jolt. It was like a surprise, right, at the time. So, and then also, this was, I don't know, maybe, and a movie can only go so far in dramatizing something, but the incident, right? I mean, yeah, like a movie can only go so far, because, what's truth is truth, right? If that really happened, they can't make it up. But I don't know. I just felt like it was a little anticlimactic, the whole incident. Like, they built up the suspense, and, they kept talking about, like, the incident. They all were saying that, and, getting up the suspense and the excitement, for us to finally see what happened. And then, it just ends up that this guy, just walks by her and whacks her once in the leg, and with a baton, and she happens to break her knee from it. So, I don't know, just not much suspense, I guess, but, that's how, that's kind of how life is. That's how things go down. So, I guess, kudos for them for sticking to more of the reality of it, instead of, kind of making up and pushing it maybe a little too far, with the drama and all that. But yeah, still, I don't know. I just felt like it was a little anticlimactic for all the build up that we saw. So yeah, another one, some things left up for debate. Like I said at the beginning, movies really left open for a lot of interpretation from this. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much, one of the main things of the movie, right? A lot of stuff, left up for, did it happen? Did it, or did it happen? Did it not happen? Or did it happen this way, right? Or, or is there, some parts missing of the story? So yeah, not really a lot of certainty with some storylines, right? In the one part, I mean, in the one interview, I mean, Jeff, her husband, says, he never hit her. And he never did all the things that she said. So then we see, a couple scenes of that, of him being like that. And then, she says, yeah, he did hit me or whatever. And the mom says, he hit her as well. So I feel like he was definitely lying at that point. But yeah, and then we see that kind of play out. So yeah, it's really left open for interpretation here. What you believe is kind of, I guess what happened there. But I would have liked that better if they maybe would have pushed a little bit more certainty on this and kind of just told us what happened. And then, we kind of go back and research the story ourselves and see if that did happen, instead of, kind of leaving it up, for us to kind of look and see, what we thought of it. So I don't know, to me, I would have liked that better, but I'm sure a lot of people appreciated this as well. Last negative for this one, and this, it's a small one, and this is going to happen in movies and TV shows, happens a lot, but Margot Robbie playing, 15-year-old Tonya, I don't know, Margot Robbie is, I think in her 30s, yeah, 30s, I think 30s, or maybe like late 20s, but she did not look, either or, she did not look 15, yeah, I don't know, I felt like that was a little bit of a problem. I feel like they probably still should have gotten an actress to play 15-year-old Tonya, but is what it is. I mean, she did have a lot of screen time, though. She did have a lot of scenes, so I'm sure that they, would have to find a pretty good actress to play 15-year-old Tonya in that case. And obviously they already have Margot Robbie, so why not use her? So it makes sense, right? But she did not look 15 in those scenes. And then and Jeff, like, that was even worse. I mean, Sebastian Stan plays the Jeff, and he's supposed to be like 18 to 20 maybe, and he looked like he was at least 30. I mean, at least. He looked like Sebastian Stan, and Sebastian Stan is, in his 30s. So, yeah, I just felt like that was, probably the worst, kind of, little, like, nitpicking, in the movie. in that regard, that, you know, these guys did not look their age, even close to their age. I got, you know, some actors, you know, that look younger. Example, Emily Kinney from Walking Dead. I mean, I think she's like 32 or something now, and she still looks like she's, you know, 18. So I get those actors, you know, playing, you know, younger roles, of course. Okay, that works because they look like that. But Margot Robbie and Sebastian Stan do not look 15 and 18. So that was just kind of my comment there. But, you know, that's something small. That doesn't really have to, you know, affect the overall storyline of the movie. So, anyways, guys, yeah, and then an overall rating for this one, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. Definitely one of my favorites of the year, I would say. And yeah, I really suggest go out to see this movie if you haven't seen it. I definitely think it's worth the money, worth your time. And especially if you paid attention to the tragedy when it happened, or you know about it, you know, afterwards, definitely go and see it, because I think it does a great job in portraying, you know, the real actual, you know, events that actually happened. So yeah, I felt like that was great, and you know, if you want a good laugh too, it's definitely good for that too. I mean, the comedy is just amazing in it, and Paul Walter Hauser's definitely a highlight there with the comedy. He's really great. So, anyways, guys, yeah, overall, I'd say go out to see this movie. I really enjoyed it, and I felt like there's a lot of great positives, and we'll have to see how it does at the Academy Awards with its nominations. So yeah, really great stuff here, guys. But that'll just about do it for this video. So thank you so much for watching this one. Hopefully, I'm going to be doing a couple more movie reviews in the next week or two. So look out for those if you're interested in those. And yeah, for sure. So again, thanks for watching. Thanks for the recent support on my videos. Really, really appreciate it. And we'll see you next week in my next review.
She's just a devil woman with evil on her mind. Beware the devil.